make some masks, let them be around to remind you which one you really want to wear, because I tell you, you wear this one and, well, now, what does that mean? Who here is constantly thinking about how they don't have enough? Whether they don't have enough money, they don't have enough time, they don't have enough resources, raise your hand. Because that's me. And the reason that is because our brains are wired to focus on lack. Our brains are focused for survival and they're wired for that, but the solution is gratitude. Gratitude can help us see abundance. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how we change our brains from focusing on scarcity and lack to gratitude and abundance. The reason our brains focus on lack is it's just, we talk about that old human brain, that old caveman brain where it was focused on survival. And when our brains are focused on survival, we talk about that dopamine. That dopamine gives us like this positive hit, the psychological hit of a reward system. But the reward also comes from avoiding a threat. And the threat is lack, scarcity. And that's what caused us, in our old days of finding food and getting things and always being attentive. And that's why our brains are constantly thinking, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough. Our brain is trying to help us. The key is gratitude. And with gratitude, we can rewire our brains. And the way that works is, when we've talked about this, you focus on gratitude, you focus on abundance, you focus on things that you have, and your brain starts to relieve itself of all these burdens. It releases that serotonin, that calming part, that calming chemical in our brains that allows us to just relax and not be so focused. And then, we're able to not be so consumed with fear and anxiety because we don't have enough. But then the question becomes, how do we get there? How do we get from the scarcity thinking to the gratitude thinking? Is it just writing down what we're grateful for? And what I want you to think about, and something I've been doing, I think it's really helpful, is instead of just focusing on being grateful for things, just whatever your gratitude list is, I think it's important to focus on things you take for granted. And that's one of the biggest keys. I know, for me personally, when I was sick, I couldn't even walk across the floor, walk across the room, couldn't get up off the floor. I was so physically in pain. There was so much I couldn't do, and those were things I took for granted. That's one reason I come out to the forest so often, is because I took it for granted, And so when we think about things that we took for granted and then show gratitude for those things, that's where the rewiring happens inside of our brains, because we start to see more things that we already have, and we tame, we quiet that part of our brain that's focused on scarcity. Have you ever noticed, like, people when they want to have a goal and they think, oh, I'm going to get a new car, get a new house. For me, I'm not that fancy, but I know some people that are. They have these big goals. For me, I'm happy if I get a new cast iron skillet. But someone gets that goal, and then it's not long after that they're like bored with it and they're like not happy again. That excitement wears off. Well, the reason that happens is because our brains are programmed for lack. So even though you got that dopamine hit of getting that item, soon thereafter, that archaic brain kicks back in and you're looking at lack again. So that's why when we focus on what we take for granted. So I would encourage you every morning, think about things you take for granted, maybe just 3 things. And what happens is, as we train our brains to be thankful for the things that we took for granted, then we realize we have enough. We have enough. So it kind of helps us not have these like moments of impulse buying and trying to buy things to make ourselves feel better. We have enough. I'm grateful for things I used to take for granted. So then when I'm not spending extra money buying all these little things to make me happy, well, then I actually have more money. So I actually do have more abundance, and I can really feel more abundant. And it's just kind of this nice little cycle that ends up being positive when we're able to do that. And it's through that focusing on things we took for granted that changes the neural pathways in our brains. Now, I'm going to give you a little bonus exercise. This is something I've been thinking about the past couple of days. I don't know if you watched the Halloween video I did, but I talked about the masks we wear. This is really important. So since Halloween, and I recorded that, I've kept that mask sitting around on the countertop, and I've been thinking to myself, what mask am I going to wear today? What mask am I going to put on? And I thought about this video for today about scarcity versus gratitude. And I thought, well, how can I create new masks for this? And I kind of Googled, researched, and someone came up with the idea of making little plate masks that you would do with kids. So I actually went to the art store yesterday and I bought some art supplies to do just that. I went to the art supply store, bought the materials to do that, and I started to make them last night. I was like, well, what would a mask of scarcity look like? And what would a mask of gratitude and abundance look like? Now, here's the key, something I've talked about before. I really think this is important. It may sound a little cheesy. By the way, if you had any questions of whether or not I'm cheesy, you'll see right now it's absolutely true I am. No more questions asked. But I thought as I was making these masks, I was like, I feel like a child again. I feel like a child, like a little arts and crafts. And remember, I talked about that's the key to making these changes, is involving that inner child. And I know it sounds cheesy. I know it does. I wouldn't be talking to just anybody about my inner child. I'm talking to you all about it. But it's important to get in touch with this part of us, because that's where I believe the abundance comes from, that joy comes from. I'm just getting silly and excited thinking about it. And it's that inner child getting excited. And when we use the inner child to help us create these things, then we're inviting it in and we can feel that excitement. And that's what we talk about, is the feeling. It's not just the words or the thought, it's the feeling and being in there with that. So last night I made a little scarcity mask. And this is the little scarcity mask. I tried to make him, he's sad, he's upset, he's always worried about, where the money's coming from and all that sort of stuff. And then I made the happy little prosperity, the abundance, the gratitude mask. And this is the mask I want to be wearing, This is the mask. This is who I want to be. And when I have these sitting around, I think, which one do I want to wear? And that's the key, is like, we don't even realize how often we're wearing this. Even for me, creating a YouTube channel, I'm watching other YouTube videos about how to be successful on YouTube. And I see all these people talking about, oh, well, they have, 35,000 subscribers. And, oh, if you only have 300 people watching your videos, then you really, I'm lucky if 3 people watch. And if you're one of the 3 people, I thank you. Right now there's not a lot of people there. And so I can look at that and I can kind of comment and think about it. But then I realize, wait a second, this is the mask I'm putting on. Is this who I want to be? This isn't who I want to be. This isn't who I want to train my subconscious to be. I want to be this. See, he sees money everywhere he looks. He sees abundance in his mouth. Everywhere, every word he speaks, he's talking about abundance and gratitude. Everywhere. He is full of gratitude, full of abundance. This is the mask I want to wear. Now, if you like a lot of psychology and stuff, there's that famous book, Psycho-Cybernetics. It's really good, and it talks about changing your identity. But for me, it's easier and it's more fun just to think about these masks. Which mask am I going to wear? And I invite you to do that too. Think about which mask you want to wear. Go buy the material so that you can make this yourself. You can end up having arts and crafts night with yourself, with that inner child. Make some masks. Let them be around to remind you which one you really want to wear, because I tell you, you wear this one and, well, now, what does that mean? I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but it means I need to work on my gratitude, right? Anyway, Have fun with it. That's the thing. Take these ideas, make them fun. Whether it's psychology, law of attraction, whatever it is, that's my goal, is to help you all think about these things and make it fun. I really appreciate you all joining me here today. Keep in touch. Leave a comment. Let me know what you all think, what kind of ideas you want to talk about, especially with it being November and we're giving thanks this month. Keep in mind the next video I'll be making, it is the weekend of November 11th. Next Tuesday will be the 1 year anniversary of my near fatal medical emergency, so I'm going to be making a video about that. I keep pausing because, this is Charlotte, and Charlotte's an airplane hub, and there are lots of airplanes today. So anyway, keep in mind, so Tuesday, yeah, I'll be making a video about my 1 year anniversary and kind of talk more about that in depth, about what happened to me and how grateful I am to be alive today. So please leave a comment, please like and subscribe. It lets lets YouTube know who to send these kind of videos out to. I myself am going to go work on putting my gratitude back together, and I hope that you all will please stay grateful, please stay kind, and as always, I'm grateful for each and every one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.